If you guys could give Anthony Edwards his signature flavor, what would that flavor be?
Ooh,
Dang.
It'd have to
Hmm
He's
be
from
like a
Atlanta, so he
lemon
probably
lime
like
just
grape,
to
huh?
roll
I
right,
was
right?
thinking like a
Hey, 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 welcome to another episode of the Couch with Rob Fields. I'm your host, Rob Fields, and today is a great day because we heard that you all were thirsty for another episode. And today we got some guys who are here to quench your thirst in the best way possible. I'm not going to talk to you all too long about these guys. I'll let them introduce themselves. But ladies and gentlemen, give big hand claps to the team from X Hydration, Brian Anson, Emmanuel Boateng, and Justin Coleman. Yeah, 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 yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Rob? Thank you for having us.
thank you for
Yeah,
having me. I appreciate you.
yeah. I didn't mess up any names, did I?
Oh no,
No,
you
you
good.
got it all spot
Yeah,
on.
All right, yeah. We have to start off on the good foot. Got to be respectful. How you guys doing today?
doing good,
We're
doing good.
good.
I mean, it's like negative 10, 12 out here in Minnesota, but other than that, we're doing pretty well.
Oh man, listen. I thought Denmark was crazy. -10.
Yeah,
Hey, you guys look really good. Your skin is popping. I guess that's the norm for you all
Appreciate it.
out in Minnesota, right?
Yeah. I
gotta
mean,
be.
not a lot of sun, but we got to make do with what we got.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, guys, listen. Thank you for stopping by the show. I mean, it really means a lot. This is the first show of 2025, so it's an important one for me. And also it's important that we let the people know what X Hydration is bringing to the table. All right. So, first of all, how do you guys meet each other?
Yeah, so Emmanuel is actually my brother. So that's so we've known each other our whole lives. So that's how we know each other. And then Emmanuel and Justin are co-workers. Eman can tell you a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So, known Brian my whole life, from days to sleeping on the ground to sleeping, three guys in a bedroom, just real deep, stuff like that. Built a real good bond. We had a good connection. And Justin, I work in my 9 to 5, and I was on a video shoot. We were on set, and I saw this guy. I was like, "Hey, man, he creates good video for a top company, corporation." I was like, "I got to see what he can do for X Hydration." And so, chatted to him a little bit, and a couple weeks later, we were able to bring him into the X Hydration.
Yeah, I told E, we were chatting it up, and I was actually really excited for this company he was telling me about because he said, yeah, it's like aloe vera based, it's healthy, there's no natural, or there's no like artificial dyes or flavors. And I said, like that's right up my alley because me and my wife are very like into our health and kind of watching what we put into our bodies. And so I told him, I was like, E, I'm all in, but I gotta taste the product first. If it tastes good, I'm in.
Hmm.
If it's not good, I'm not in. And I mean, I'm here today, so if that's a testimony of how it tastes, it's fire.
Yeah, it's fire, right? It passed the taste test. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you all were
Justin, do you
telling me.
have a favorite flavor? I was say, Justin, do
Me,
you have a favorite flavor from that you
Yeah.
tried?
it switches like every other day. I mean, I don't know if I could drink an Arctic berry on a day like today when it's -11 wind chill or whatever, but someone might be ripping the strawberry lemonade, imagining summertime. So
Yeah.
That's right.
It takes you to the beach, huh? Somewhere sunny.
yeah,
Yeah, so we're gonna get into the flavors because I have some questions about those flavors, and I saw you have some very interesting flavors. But when you guys were telling me your story, it actually, I don't know. Some people like to call it fate. Some people like to call it destiny. Just the way that everything formulated was really interesting. So tell me how X hydration came about. So of course we have you two, Brian and E, brothers. We have Justin, who's a visual specialist. But how did this X hydration thing come in to the picture?
Yeah, so sports and like nutrition have always been very important in our lives. We grew up playing sports from a really young age, so we were always, you know, trying to get refilled on electrolytes. So sports and sports drinks and hydration beverages have always been, at the forefront of our lives. The story for how X Hydration began, it's kind of a crazy one, and really would call it, I would call it fate. So I was a very standout high school athlete. I played basketball, ran track, played football. I ended up committing to the University of Minnesota to run track there. But before I got to the University of Minnesota, I was a football athlete as well, and I tore my ACL senior year before arriving to the University of Minnesota. So my first
Ouch.
year was a lot of rehab and a lot of downtime. I wasn't able to do everything that everybody else was doing, so I had a lot of free time. And so I'd always connect with my friend Joel back home, who was an outstanding hockey player on the Division I track. Ended up having a tragic injury, but he pushed through it and he persevered. So we always talk to each other, like, how can we make our passion into something that we can monetize? How can we use our knowledge about health and wellness and sports and nutrition in business? And we just called each other, and it's one of those things that you kind of talk to your friends about, and it left the group chat. It made it. I mean, we got here. So me and Joel just kind of sitting around thinking about business ideas, and we're like, we should do like a sports drink hydration beverage. And then we just jumped into it. We did it. And the first person I called was E-Man, my brother, my big brother. And I was just like, at the time, I'm his younger brother. So he's always kind of looked at me as little bro. So I called him, and in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know if E-Man will be down for this. He might think I'm crazy or something. And I called him and I said, yo, we should do this. I really think we can do this. We have the resources, we have the connections, we have the know-how, we have that entrepreneurial spirit. What do you think about this? And it was just a really nice feeling. My brother was supportive, and he told me absolutely yes was his first response that I got from him. And ever since then, we haven't looked back.
Yeah. I don't know if he got me at a really, really great time or what it was, but I was really just excited about what he had to say. Um, and yeah, it was a testament to them. I remember, because I know Joel as well. He went to our high school. And so when Brian told me that, him and Joel were, down in their basement, just like a random night, and they were talking about, starting a sports drink company, I was kind of like, dang, I mean, this is cool. I never really thought about the entrepreneurial stuff. I knew I always wanted to do it, but I didn't know how to do it or how to get there. I didn't know what the first steps were. So when Brian kind of came to me with those first steps, I was like, this is a really good idea, but is it sports drink, or should we go a different route, maybe a different type of beverage? And then I remember Brian and I, countless nights, we were just Googling things, random stuff on the internet, just trying to look and see what sectors we can get into, what's kind of like a sports drink but isn't the same. And so that's when hydration beverages were formed, and we were able to do some research and see where that market was going to look like. There wasn't a real clear cut winner like there was in the sports drink sector. And then so we decided to go with hydration. And after, a couple weeks of brainstorming ideas for the name, X Hydration was born.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing story, especially with Joel and how you all came together. But it's just so crazy how you all went with sports drinks. I don't think I've ever met anyone who says, you know what, I think I want to do a sports drink. That's why when you all came into the picture, I was just like, dude, this is different. Like, this is really different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing to go from kind of the think tank to getting it out the group chat. Like when you trying to go on vacation with your homeboys, it never really gets out the group chat, especially when you start to see the bills come in. The
Right.
costs. But it's really interesting to see how everything came together, and that, like you said, it was a lot of it was about timing. How you could have been getting a promotion at your job at the time, so you
Right.
probably would have been like, dude, I can't do this right now. Like, this is, I have this going on at
Right.
work. But this is why, it's I don't know, like when you all were telling me the story, I thought about just destiny and how things kind of just line up and people come into your lives, like you, Justin, and E just happen to work at the same company, and,
Mm-hmm.
and everything comes together. So with your sports drink, it's not just a regular sports drink. Like, there's a lot of healthy aspects to how you all have approached the sports drink game, and connecting it to sports. Where's the science come in? So who's the one who has done the scientific part of it? Because that's a big part of creating something such as X hydration. So who's in charge of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, from the get go, since me and E-Man have been very high level athletes, we knew like what's good for the body because we always want to take care of our bodies that we were able to, perform at our peak. And so, when we were creating X hydration, we had a pretty good knowledge of what needs to go into the body and what is good for recovery, wellness, hydration. So we were Googling some stuff and doing a lot of research. But ultimately, we accredit the science to our wonderful laboratory. They were able to kind of take our ideas and really make X hydration into what it is right now.
Yeah. So how do you go about finding the lab? Like, do you just go into the lab and you say, hey, we're creating a sports drink. Can you, put together some test studies for us? Like how does that come to be?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of research. You want to find an accredited laboratory. You want to do your research on who you're working with, the type of drinks that they have made before, and so you really want to do your research and your homework on who you're working with. What can they do? They have the capabilities to provide the type of beverage that you need? But you can jump in. I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, it's like Brian said, it's a lot of research and kind of seeing what other products they create, in the lab, that maybe is similar to the product that we want to create. So then you know that they can do what you want to do. But it is a lot of time. It's a lot of trial and error. I mean, our first batch that we had put out, I mean, the guys will tell you, I mean, it wasn't great, right? We learned the hard way. And we just realized like how long it actually does take to formulate a beverage. So it isn't just some magical process where we snapped our fingers and told the lab we wanted to taste good and we want it to taste like hydration components. We did a lot of work on the back end, and it was actually almost a year of work on the back end. Sending product to or sending our thoughts to the lab, and having the lab send it back to us, trialing it with some of our friends and family members, and seeing what their takes were on it and how we can improve. And I think it took, literally around a year, would you say, Brian? And then we were able to get the formula that we thought is the best.
Justin, did you play sports coming up as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not no Brian or E. He's semi-pro soccer. I was like mess around JV soccer.
Yeah.
But I grew up in Fridley, and me and the guys would always play like basketball after school. So I love hooping, ton of fun. But yeah, I don't know. We try to like distinguish our beverage to be for everyone. So we even when we were in formulation process, Brian, he told me that we decided, okay, we want to be for everybody. So that means bringing in athletes on some stuff, but then we have like a marketing plan towards Midwest moms and towards, like kids and towards entrepreneurs. And so like
Yeah.
we may come off sometimes as a sports drink, but our goal is to be like this everyday health and wellness beverage as well.
Like
Yeah, because I
excited.
mean we all need to be hydrated,
Yeah.
and if you can add
Exactly.
some flavor to it, I mean, hey, let's rock and roll. I mean, water is great, but sometimes you gotta spike that thing a little bit, man, to
Come
get
on, Rob. Come on, Rob.
come on, man, you gotta spike it, bro. Spike the water with some healthy stuff, man, and some flavor,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, but so, all right, so I'll ask the three of you this question. What did you guys prefer when you competed? Do you prefer the sports drink? And I won't go into any other brands because they're the comp now, they're the competition. Or did you prefer the sports drink, or did you go with just straight up water?
I'd say I did a bit of both. I'd always have a sports drink day of, but then I'd also drink water as well. I kind of do half and half.
Yeah, I was definitely water during activity, and then maybe afterwards I would have a little bit of sugar with that, with a sports drink or something like that.
What about you,
Yeah.
Justin?
I'd say I would be water during, but then a little before or after I drink a sports drink.
Man, I remember competing in college, and this was my freshman year actually. We were playing a game, and usually during the games they bring out the sports drink. I
Hmm.
won't say the name. But for me, that was luxury because in high school that wasn't a thing. Like we didn't have a cooler filled with that. So our trainer, she makes up a batch and she makes it so good, bro. Like it's fire. So
It's spiked, as Rob would say.
spiked. So so we're competing, and dude, I took a sip of it, and it was so good. I was sitting there, go in the game and play. Instantly caught a cramp, and what I found was it was just so sweet. Like it was
Mm,
just so sweet, and of course, everyone's body is different, right? But since then, I went with just straight water, and
hmm.
to see that you all are providing something that cuts that and actually adds something to the mix while you're in competition, maybe, or on the go for those the soccer moms or whatnot.
Hmm.
It's actually really refreshing to see that you guys are doing it, and I wish that we had something like that when I was coming through. So I'm just gonna pivot a little bit. So you all, what was that transition from going to corporate to X hydration or sports to X hydration? Like how did that happen, and how were you feeling in that moment? Were you afraid? Were you excited? Like what was that transition like for you guys?
Yeah, I can start. Transition for me was interesting because when Brian called me, I had my worst week ever at my job. It was a sales job. I couldn't pick up the phone anymore. It got to the point where I was like, I just need something else. And so when Brian called me with Exhydration, it was like my next route. It was my escape from where I was currently at. So I didn't really
Mm,
have that being afraid factor. I looked at it as I had nothing to lose, and I was like, I don't want to do this. I think I realized quickly that it wasn't something that I wanted to do. And so for me, it wasn't hard doing two things at once. Where it became difficult is when I got a bet when I left that job and I went to a bigger job, bigger
yeah.
company, and then I had hobbies on the side where I was doing doing TikToks and social media, where I added that as another stream of like a job as well. And so that's where it started to get difficult with balancing all these things at once. But it's where it comes down to the common goal. And if you really do think that you believe in the brand that you're creating, it's one of those where you have to make sacrifices along the way. And so I was happy to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and for you, Brian, and of course, Justin, you took the same step as you were working well. You had a nice job, and then they come with this great idea, and it's like, let me let me talk to my people, a little, make sure it's right. I can only imagine. But Brian, you were talking about leaving sports. Like, what going into this space? Did you ever contemplate going back to play? Like after college and all of this stuff. Did you think, "Nah, I'm not finished yet"?
Yeah, it's honestly something I think about every day, just because I'm still in college, and X hydration started when I was 18, so about 3.5 years ago. I started it when I was running track here at the University of Minnesota, so it
Hmm.
was definitely a lot to juggle. I mean, being a Division 1 athlete, practice, school, tutoring, recovery, and trying to start your own business. It was a lot. It was a lot to juggle, but I do still think about it because you definitely feel like you're an athlete. You still got like the juice. You still got a little bit more to give. So
Hmm.
definitely, I don't know. Stay tuned. You might see some. I still got it in me. So we'll see.
Hey, listen, you get out that bed, man, and you feeling good. You pick up that heavy bag of groceries. You like, man, listen, my forearms are still popping, man. Let me see. Go to the intramural, man, the intramural games real quick. No, but I asked that question, guys, because this show is basically that. This show this podcast has helped me transition from being a full time athlete to whatever my life is right now. So I'm always interested to hear guys talk about what it means to them when they take that risk, because essentially it is a risk. I probably could have played 3 or 4 more seasons. When I stopped playing, my body felt good. I was still playing at a pretty good level. Some teams were interested in bringing me in, but my mind wasn't there. I was really fishing to find something else, and the podcast just kind of provided me with a little bit of creativity, something that I had never had before. So when I talk to people who are going through these transitional phases, it not only is interesting to hear, but it lets me know that sometimes the risk is worth it, because maybe there's some peace on the other side of it, or prosperity. You never know. But if you don't take that shot, you always going to be shooting zero from the field, I guess. Yeah. So yeah. So that's why I brought that up. The thing that, and we're gonna revisit what you were talking about, Justin. Justin, earlier you talked about the first time you tried X hydration. You talked about it. You were like, "Yeah, this is good." What goes into the flavor palette and creating a flavor for a beverage? Because you could always go with the orange drink, the grape. You can go down, that road where it's just basic flavors. Yeah, it's black and white, right? But you added some real sauce to what you got going on. So what goes into that process of picking a flavor?
Yeah, it's a tough process, picking a flavor. I think the reason we chose the two flavors that we went with for our hydration beverage, because like it was different. People don't usually start off with like a strawberry lemonade or a Arctic berry, and we just wanted to put our own innovative twist out on the hydration market. So that's kind of why we went into the two flavors that we have now. It was a lot of taking polls on consumer feedback, focus groups, and just kind of understanding and knowing a consumer's palate and what they would like to prefer in a hydration beverage. So it was a lot of consumer research and just trying to be different and trying to differentiate ourselves. That's what kind of landed us with the two flavors that we have now. But we got some more in the pipeline. There's two more to come. I won't give out too much about it, but we got some new interesting flavors coming through. So
Is it peanut butter and jelly?
no, but
No, no.
it's fine though, so don't don't worry about that.
What one aspect that I did not know about Brian, well, you were actually still in college, so
Yeah.
I mean, you have a great opportunity right there on campus to just put the product out. Are you able to do that on campus?
Yeah, so we got some taste tests set up on campus. It was super nice, just being an athlete here and a student here at the University of Minnesota, just like the support of other athletes and other students on campus, hearing about X Hydration, supporting me through like all my endeavors. I really do enjoy that part of being in college. And it's nice too, because we're in fresh time. We're on all 9 fresh times in Minnesota, and like the one in Minneapolis is on campus. So that's super nice
What?
on campus can go grab X hydration. So I really enjoy that part of it when people text me or like they snap me a picture and they got X hydration. It's just honestly, there's no better
So you
feeling.
guys have a grocery store on campus?
Yeah, in the campus where there's the fresh time. Yeah, Stadium
See, we
Village.
don't get that stuff at D2s, guys. Like we have to go to the actual store. You know, like that's crazy. And your product is in the store. Listen. I'm not getting in your business, but I'm sure that's a nice flex when you when you're dealing. When you're out there looking for a significant other, maybe I don't know your situation, but I'm sure that's a nice flex, brother.
It is a nice
Yeah.
look. Funny enough, she right next door. She lived right next to me, so I met her. I met her in my apartment. But yeah,
Yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. So, guys, I've been checking out your stuff, of course. Just doing some research on your movement, and not only just the product itself, but how you're delivering it to your consumer base. Talk to me about the content aspect. The content is fast paced, it's hard hitting, it's very colorful. It's everything that you would want a sports brand or a sports drink to deliver. Like what's the concept behind that, and how do you formulate that together?
Yeah, I think initially we wanted to create high level stuff that looks like any of our competitors or even like high level clothing brands, and we decided we wanted to really invest in and to let us play among the top players in the industry, because if we're this new beverage and we can produce and create content at the highest level possible, that's the only more reason for investors and other people to even, like, when they look us up, they're like, oh shoot, these guys, like, they're polished. They're here to play and here to stay. And
Yep.
so now that we kind of got that base, we're going to be leaning more into strategy with Eman and talking about, okay, well, Eman's built a big UGC TikTok following, which hopefully it gets saved, but we'll see here in the US. But
R.I.P.
yeah, I know.
Come on,
But
Donald.
the
Come on,
beauty of it
Donald.
is
Come on,
now,
Donald.
yeah, with E strategy, now we're going to lean heavy into the UGC throughout 2025, because now that we've like built that polish and that brand, and it's like, okay, yeah, we're this high level brand. Well, now we need to go out and we need to connect with more people, And so it's like, it was great to work with Josh Dobbs and with Naylor, and we're talking with a couple people who are interested in investing, and it's great to like have those relationships and continue to develop and invest in those. At the same time, though, now we need to keep those relationships and then decide, you know what? Well, we need to build a community now too, and we have these people who are backing us, and it's at a high level. And so we feel like now that we have these high level pieces, the community can be excited for us to post like more iPhone-esque UGC.
Yeah, yeah,
Justin.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, E, you were talking about how you built a TikTok following.
Yeah.
Of course, R.I.P. to TikTok. It was yeah, you had a great run. Well, it's not quite over. Tell me how you built that following. Like, what was your TikTok game like? What were you doing prior to getting into X hydration?
Yeah. So, yeah, Justin hit the nail on the head with UGC, how important it is for us as a brand to build those organic
Can
connections.
you explain UGC to those who don't know?
Yeah, so UGC is user generated content. So basically, if I take my iPhone and I go shoot something, propping it up against a tripod or putting it up against a water bottle, and film like maybe my day in the life or whatever it may be, that's UGC. That's user generated content where I'm the user and I'm generating content. I'm not some sort of actor or actress or whatever it may be,
Hmm.
but I can create content that looks appealing to the person behind the screen that's looking at this video and saying, "Hey, I could do this myself too." And so it's making it relatable, relatable content. And so that's kind of what I built my brand off of. I film a lot of day in the life. I showcase, what it's like to be a business owner, what it's like to have a 9 to 5, what it's like to play semi-professional soccer, all while, doing these things and making time for everything else and fostering relationships in my life as well. And so, yeah, it's been a long journey. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Donald can bring TikTok back, or somebody, whoever's watching this, if you can bring it back. If you're a billionaire watching this, please put your money into it. We need the app to come back. Or if not, if someone has the inside scoop on what's next, let me know so I can get ahead of the game. But yeah, like Justin said, it's really important to have UGC. I think he hit the nail on the head. It is nice to work with guys like Jalen Naylor. It's nice to work with guys like Josh Dobbs. It's nice to work with Wendell Moore. But we also need to gain some of that community aspect of it as well, and have people that associate with our brand understand that they don't need to be super high level or super famous or well known to be able to drink the product. It's for everyone,
Yep.
made by people just like them. So we want them to understand that.
Yeah. So I mean, have you all taken the company to? Were you on TikTok?
Yeah, yeah, we were.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about this TikTok thing is, I'm sure you guys remember Vine and how crazy Vine was going at a certain period of time. I mean, it changed the game, and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, it went dark. So the question is, what's next? And you have all of these companies popping up. You have fan base. Yeah, it's just it's interesting to see what is going to come next, because TikTok
Yeah.
is I mean it is well I mean it's still going in certain countries. It's still yeah, I still have access to it here in Denmark, but in America, of course, that's where most of my content comes from. My content doesn't necessarily come from Denmark. It comes from America. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that's on the priority list for the incoming, yeah, president. Yeah, let's see if that's on the list. We'll see. But but
Hmm.
yeah, you guys were taught you guys dropped some names, that are closely related to the company, and in your content you have some very hard hitting professional athletes. What goes into that athlete profile? What are you looking for? Are you looking for someone who has a great personality? Are you looking for someone with the biggest followers? Like, what are you guys looking for when you're bringing in a signature athlete or
Yeah.
individual to the company to represent X Hydration? What are you guys looking for, and how does that work amongst you all?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say the biggest thing is honestly values. We want to make sure that like anybody who's working with X Hydration or part of X Hydration same shares the same like core values and beliefs that we have there. So there's a lot of natural synergy already. In terms of athletes, we just want to work with people who are good people, people that share the same values, and that people that enjoy the product. We never want to make something, you know, artificial and just go like for the biggest person with the biggest following just to promote and put the product out there. We like to make sure that the athletes like enjoy the product. So the first thing we do before we even partner is we send some product out to them. They taste it and they let us know our feedback, and then we go from there. If they like it, that's perfect because then we want to be able to film and edit and post things with someone who actually wants to promote the product because they like it. So
Right, right.
that's a big point of it for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're also a representation of you all.
Hmm.
Just as much as X Hydration is your baby, essentially. So if you have an athlete but how would that go? This is something that I've always wondered, right? And I've been an athlete, or whatever, but I've never had a brand deal, essentially. So how would you guys? Let's say an athlete comes along and an athlete gets in a mess because it's easier to get into things, especially with social media nowadays, than it probably was in the '90s. So how would you all deal with that? You bring in an athlete, you say, all right, he's good or she's good, and then next thing you know, social media goes on fire. Example: Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is not a fan favorite right now. However, he's attached to a number of brands. So how would you all deal with something like that? I've always been interested to see what this process is like. Do you wait it out?
Yeah.
Do you burn it all down? Like how would you all approach that?
Um, I
Yeah.
think. Do you want to take this one?
Uh, yeah, I can take it.
I didn't know you know it's tough. I didn't
I
know if you want to take it.
luckily we've been fortunate with handpicking our athletes and people influencers that we like to work with to the point where, thankfully for us, there hasn't been a case where we've had to deal with something of that nature. But
Yeah,
if it was, I have no doubt that we'd be able to deal with it accordingly. And that's why it's important too when you're writing some of these contracts, these athletes and influencers, you have to have in the contract that if there is any sort of social media scandal or any sort of scandal in any type of way, that there are penalties for that. Some of those you can't really disclose because they're locked in by contract. But
yeah,
we have to understand sometimes too that when influencers and athletes work with brands, they aren't spokespeople for the companies as well, and so it is sometimes out of our control if an influencer or athlete chooses to have their own views on something, and that's something that we have to think about as a company if that aligns with our values and who we are. And if it isn't, then we have to part ways mutually. And so that's kind of how those situations are dealt with.
yeah. Before we get to the next, before we pivot a little bit, I want to ask you about your Minnesota Vikings. Are you guys okay? First, uh, is that okay?
Detroit's gone, Packers are gone, so we're good. We're good over
Yeah,
here.
that's Minnesota gone. So
It
yeah,
could be anybody, just not them
Right.
in the division.
Exactly.
I'm rooting for the
Exactly. Go Washington Redskins.
no thank take it all, Jay. You got it.
Yeah, yeah, man. No, but so for me, I'm asking some of these questions, guys, because like I told you, I've never spoken to anyone who had their own sports drink or a beverage. It could be alcohol, it could be soda or whatever. So it's really interesting to see the inner workings of how this goes. Justin, I wanted to ask you, did, does your approach to content switch from being corporate to what you all are doing right now? Because you have the same mind, but of course the look and the texture of what you're doing is probably going to change. Do you have to switch up with X hydration?
Yeah, I would say when you're shooting high level content, it's like math. So there's specific formulas and equations you always have to follow when you're at a high level. Um, I mean, some of the best directors in Hollywood, they will like break the quote unquote rules, but when you break a rule, it needs to be intentional as well. So then it's like you're playing chess. Where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to follow these rules, but then I'm going to break this one. But now because it's intentional, it's going to create like this interesting effect. So
Hmm.
I think I'm following these rules that I've kind of learned and set for myself, and having like good framing. A lot of things come in the edit too, where it's like, okay, with a window and door install commercial, well, that's not going to be as fast paced of an edit where I'm cutting, adding some effects and transitions. Then versus, like I said, for X hydration versus Anderson windows and doors. So I think, and now even too, like I'm at a good spot where I'll help Brian produce some stuff, and then we'll actually bring on a lot of people to help me shoot it. Just because now I have a kid and I do want to focus on the career aspect, and I want to make sure I can support the X hydration team. But it's you can only do a certain amount of things well in life, and you got to kind of find what your role is and fill your role as well as you can. So I don't know. We've got a great thing going with our team and the content, but as far as like in the mental side, I don't think it's too much different as long as you do the practice, right? So it's like me and Brian will put our head together. We'll come up with a plan on what the pre-production looks like. What's the vibe of this shoot, and then from there, because we have all the details down, okay, now we just go and we execute. Something that would be similar for whatever shoot. So like it is a little similar. There's some baselines, but then at the same time, it is different. But if you do, it's like practice. You do the work on the front end, then you're not gonna have issues when you're actually on the shoot.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm getting into the editing thing. Of course, not on a professional level. I do the editing for the podcast. But how do you get your reps in? Because it's, of course, you have the high level content, but how do you get your reps in day by day? Do you do your own small projects on the side? Like, how does that work?
I mean, every time you hit export and you send something out, you can't take it back. Like a lot of YouTubers in 2018 when I first started, they would say just post. Just post. It's not gonna be good, but just post. And the thing is too is after you post it, it's like sure you could archive or delete, but it's like well you already shared it. Now you're gonna be way more critical in your own mind of like rewatching that, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't like that. Oh, this color could have been better. Oh, that was a slow cut. And then it's like it gets you to just really start thinking. And then what like people do as a cheat code now is they'll take high level content, they'll drag it into what's called their timeline, and they can watch their content, this high level content side by side, and then you can really dissect and be like, wow, they're averaging a cut every 1.8 seconds, except for this one part, but then it lets it breathe, and the music track does X, and the sound effects does Y, and so it's like it's all about like studying the game. It's like honestly being a videographer. A lot of things translate to being an athlete, and even same with business. The mindset of a business person can translate to being an athlete as well because it's very strategic. It's all really connected, I would say, in how you think. So I don't know. It is about getting the reps in, and I think if you can watch the greats and you can study these great editors now that I'm trying to do, see what they do, learn from them, then it just helps us and our content elevate at a higher level and get there quicker as well.
Yeah, I mean that connection to sports goes. I mean, I'm so happy I was able to play sports at a high level and like really process not only what we did physically, but also those intangible things like getting your reps in, studying, preparation, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. All of these things kind of translate,
Mhm.
and is I can imagine it's translating to what you all are doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. I have a quick question for you, E and Brian.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving. There's a lot of green grass. Who's winning the foot race in 2025? 3, 2, 1, go.
Me.
I mean, I'm gonna say me. He's gonna say him.
Nah.
But if he gets me right now, it's 'cause my knee's messed up. My kne's messed up. So like, if he gets me right now, that's why. But
He
I think we're
already
talking
making
both our
excuses,
primes.
Brian. He already making
He'll
excuses,
he'll he'll,
bro.
Yeah.
he'll get me. He'll get me. in anything over probably 100 meters because I can't do that longevity piece of it. Like 200, 300, 400, you got me. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it straight. But right away, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die when I reach the end of the line. That's all I'm gonna say.
First of all, well,
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna beat him by the time someone says go or the hand is clapped. It's over
That's
with.
crazy.
He played soccer, but I'm a track athlete, so this shouldn't even be a
Hey,
question right now. I'm winning.
hey,
100.
Rob. I'm gonna let you know I was a winger and a striker, so those are the fastest positions in the game. So
There
you know
you
what I
go.
mean. Like it all translates the same.
Hey,
Oh, see, now I'm about to get E back in the lab.
he, he don't need to be in the
Even
lab.
with
He
my
can
Go back
busted
to
knee,
training.
beat me.
Yeah,
even with my busted knee, I
he
will
gonna
still
go
do
back to
it.
training. Thanksgiving is up,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
It is up.
So should
Yeah,
we lock it in right now? Next Thanksgiving.
Let's do it. I mean, I could
Let's
lay on
do
the
it.
couch a whole year and still beat you
Now he's just
yeah,
talking.
in my sleep.
Now he's just
yeah.
talking.
In my sleep. I'm not talking. I back it up.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
I'm an instigator. See what I did, Justin?
Hey, see what you did, Rob?
Let's do it. X hydration 40 yard dash. We'll get it all set up. Instagram live. We'll do it.
Hey
Let's do it.
man,
Let's do it. You heard it
content,
here first. You heard it here first.
content. That's what I'm talking about. Content is king. That'll be the way to get you going, and you can hydrate afterwards.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So guys, you know, every time I come on, I mean, I might say it in a lot of the episodes, but I don't want to hold you a long time because I value time. Excuse me, in a major way. Like I really value time, and I don't want to hold you. This is what I want to know next. Excuse me. This is what I want to know from you guys. What's next for X Hydration?
We got a lot of stuff planned, a lot of big stuff coming up. 2025 is going to be a tremendous year for X Hydration. We're kicking it off right with our official partnership with Lift Sports Management. Now we're the official hydration beverage of Lift Sports. So we're kicking 2025 off right. We're really excited about that. We got a lot of things in the work with Lift. They're great people to work with, Layden and Chris and Marco and the whole team. It's phenomenal to work with, and we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff planned with Lyft and a lot of creative direction and strategy going on there. And then for 2025, we also got our two new flavors that are going to drop as well. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of big things for X Hydration. We look to retain more market share and be a household name in the beverage industry.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah. Go. I'm
Um,
sorry, Justin.
we
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're looking to get into more stores too. I think we're already in up to 11. We got a couple gyms and fitness centers we're getting into, so we're going to continue to expand out into that realm too to kind of touch those. We got into our first gym this year too, so we're already off to a good
Yeah.
start. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. We've got a great content plan too. Me and Eve are cooking together. I don't know, just excited. We've got a lot of things that I think growth is going to be inevitable, and we're going to put our heads down. We're going to keep working hard, and that's just the name of the game. Is if you ever let your foot off the gas a little, you take a day off. Well, that's another day that the competition can get ahead of you. So we just got to keep
Hmm.
the pace up.
Yeah, and
Yeah. The guys.
it's. Do you want to add something? E?
Oh, I was just gonna say the guy said it great. I mean, I think strategy is a big one for 2025. Adding more stores, like Justin said as well, and so we're really excited for a big year ahead.
Yeah, and I mean also like I said before, it's just amazing to see that you guys are working as a team. You know, there have been so many great ideas and great concepts that have been broken by just infighting or just negative energy. But just looking at you all right now on screen, I can see that the product means something to you, but also the connection that you all have means something. So I'm really excited for you guys in 2025, man. Like it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a good it's gonna be fun to watch this thing grow. Um, I can't I'm excited for you. So guys, we before we get to the end of the episode, give me your feelings about this TikTok thing. Of course we're talking about the X hydration, but just tell me your feelings on it. Do you feel like it's an invasive an invasive part of technology? Are you heartbroken? I'm sure you are, by its
Yeah.
removal. Like, just give me your opinion on what you feel about TikTok and maybe some of the misconceptions about the app.
Yeah, I think it's a phenomenal app if used correctly, right? And that's the internet in general. I think it's one of those vibes where it's like, for me, I was able to make supplemental income from it. So obviously, I'm going to be a little biased. I'm going to have my own, thoughts on it or whatever. But I think if you're being shown, content that's good and beneficial to the person behind the screen, I think that's always a good thing. But sometimes we know that's not the case with TikTok, and a lot of it is just like nonsense that flies across your screen that you don't really want your kids watching. So I understand the aspect of it, and I understand maybe the privacy piece of it as well. But it's like I feel like with all these different platforms we have out here, privacy can be an issue as well. So I'm not sure, but then again, I'm not the one in power to make some of those decisions. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah,
for my benefit, it comes back. But I understand if it doesn't.
Hey, I just got an email basically saying President elect is now making it available today for most U.S. users, and he's going to delay it getting shut down and try to work something out. So it sounds like we
Hey
might be able
Rob,
to
screw
lock
everything I
back
just
in
said.
today. I'm going to have to
Screw
reinstall the
that. Hey, screw what I just said, Rob. Yeah, bring that back. Shout out Donald. Shout out Donald. Let's
yeah.
go. Let's go, Donald.
What did Jimmy Butler do earlier this week? He put on the 45 jersey, took a neighbor, tell everybody I'm back.
Yes, sir. Hey, Jimmy Buckets. G stands for gets. Let's get
Oh
it.
my God. I don't get political on the show, but with all of the criticisms of Trump, you can feel whatever you feel about him. Man, this dude
Mhm.
is a beast. Like, like everybody counted him out, bro. Like he
Yeah,
did it twice. He
he
became
did. Yeah.
president 2 times, bro. Like you say what you want about him, man. I mean, whatever. But
You
let's
think we
be
should?
real.
You think we should send some ex hydration to the White House? You think we can do that? Who we got to
Man,
talk to for
listen,
that?
this is the time. This is the time, bro. Like, listen, the the man. Listen, have we seen this before?
no.
It's just it's like
Nah.
having a conversation about uh, LeBron James. Like, dude, we haven't seen it before, bro. Like, you can feel what you feel about it. Think he's at the parties, whatever. Like, but if we look at his actual body of work, we haven't seen it before. Like, so listen, like I
Right.
said, I don't do the political stuff, but I'm just like, I'm amazed at what Trump has done, and I'm sure for all of our TikTok users, they're like, yeah, he's definitely the goat. I don't know anything about his policy, but he's bringing back the TikTok, baby, his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So guys, listen, this is a part of the show. That I value as well because it means something to me. Manifestation. So
Mm.
anytime I have guests come onto the show, I like to have them manifest some of the wildest, craziest things that they could possibly dream or think of in their mind. And what I would like to do is I would like to use this show and this episode as a reference for you guys for when you accomplish that so you can revisit it and say, I told you. I
Mm.
told you in 2025 on the couch with Rob Fields that I was going to have the greatest sports drink ever. I told you LeBron was going to put us under their umbrella. I told you. I told you Messi was going to be drinking X hydration on the sideline. You know, so I would like the three of you all to manifest your wildest dreams. That could be personal, professional, or both. And you guys could take the floor.
Oh, this is a tough one. This is something I like to think about a lot. I do like to, always stay where my feet are and stay grounded and stay humble, but I'm always looking towards the future as well. So some manifestations for me personally is you just to grow up and be a standout man and a person. That's first and foremost. Secondly, I want to make the Forbes list. Forbes 30 under 30. I got to make it. I mean, I'm 22 right now, so I got some time, but you're gonna see me on Forbes one of these days. And then for X Hydration, I'm looking forward to X Hydration being in Target nationwide. and some of the biggest retailers nationwide, us making a really big name for ourselves, us becoming the sponsored beverage of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota Vikings, and Minnesota Wild, and just being able to be that beverage in Minnesota, but nationwide as well, being that household beverage name. But I really am looking forward to these things happening. God willing, I think it will. So those are some of the things I'm looking forward to for the future.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
and I'll split it up. I'll split it up the same way. I'll do personal and I'll do X Hydration's goals as well. Personal goals for me, just continue to foster the relationships I've built in my life, and continue to build on them, make time for those people, and just show up every day. Also with the personal aspect as well, because TikTok is back now. Justin is back.
Back.
Yeah,
E-Man
is
got
back.
it
So
back.
so to continue to grow on TikTok as well, and continue to use that influence to help push X Hydration and let people understand like what it is that we're doing, what it is that I do with my day in the life as well. And then on an X Hydration goal of ours is, or of mine is to, get in more stores. I want to see us grow. I want us to become a drink that everybody in the state of Minnesota understands what X Hydration is, what it looks like when we say the name. That's a huge thing for us. We want to. That was always our goal, is to become the beverage of Minnesota, for everybody in this state to understand what it is. We want the backing of the state. We need, maybe our high schools that we went to kind of carry this in concession stands and that kind of thing. And we really want this to be a household beverage that, you go to a random house in Minnesota and they got it in their fridge and they rave about it and talk about it and are really proud that it's a Minnesota company. So that's my personal goal.
Nice.
Sure. Manifestation is a weird thing for me because I actually had a conversation with one of my good friends a few years back, and they were saying like, "Oh, what do you think about all these teenagers nowadays, like using like manifest destiny and stuff?" And I was like, I think it just depends how you're using it and how kind of what you believe about it. So for me, it's like a you need action and you need a roadmap, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
think when I use the word like, oh, if I were to manifest something, it's like, okay, well, now I'm giving myself accountability and permission to do what I'm gonna say,
Oh yeah.
right? And so like I love what Brian said, where he's like, I want to be a better man, and it's like now as a father for myself, it's like I am going to be the best dad I can to my daughter and a better husband to my wife, And I think too with X Hydration, it's like, yeah, like why can't we get into every store in Minnesota? And it's like if we never thought that we could get there, and if we never said it, how would we get there?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like first dude on the moon, whether if it's legit, some people believe it's not, but it's like how can you get anywhere if you never thought it was possible? So I think becoming official sports, or like official sponsor or like partnership with the Vikings, Timberwolves, Wild, Twins, that would be huge, And I think getting in Target. I think this year if we get in Target, I'll fall to my knees, dude. I'll make a TikTok thinking Brian, Rob, dude. I'll be thinking the state of Minnesota. So I think getting in Target and becoming a better man, those are probably the biggest two things.
Okay, if you guys could give Anthony Edwards his signature flavor, what would that flavor be?
Ooh,
Dang.
It has to
Mm-hmm.
He's
be
from
like a
Atlanta, so he's
lemon
probably
lime
like
just
grape,
to
huh?
troll
I
Sprite,
was
right?
thinking like
Like a citrus twist.
I was thinking maybe like a peach some. He's from Georgia, so
I was gonna
Ah,
say, I was
AE.
thinking something with grape. I don't know.
You
Right?
got some.
yeah. Ah, yeah.
I don't know. Ant looked like he liked something like that. I don't know. Ant, let me know. Let us know. What do you want? We can make it happen.
Come on, AE. Hey, we got you. Hey, X hydration got you, player.
Got you.
Yeah,
Come
we
on,
got
Ant
you.
Man.
We'll take care of you. Minnesota zone. We'll take care of you, Ant.
There you go. Yeah, but guys, listen, I really appreciate you giving me some of your time. We we're gonna wrap it up now. But before we wrap it up, please give me you guys socials, especially if you want some people to see some of your work, some of your action. If not, I can dig that too. But just give me your socials, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah. So I start. It's Eman Boateng Jr. So just take my name, Eman Boateng Jr. across all socials. That's where you can find me on everything.
For me, Brian watching that's on IG. That's where you'll mostly find me, and then also just at Drink X Hydration on IG.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. at DrinkX Hydration, and at Justin the DP. DP meaning director of photography. It's like it's a creative term. Somebody be like, "Yo, what's DP mean? What's DP?" It's director of photography.
JC, I was wondering for a second.
Excuse me, I'd like to clarify.
Oh man.
But guys, thank you so much, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had X Hydration in the building. Not only were you thirsty for a new episode, you're thirsty for a new sports drink. All right, and these guys are providing it. They have it right here. X Hydration is on Amazon now. I checked it out. I wish they had it in Amazon Germany. Then I have a crate shipped here to the house. But yeah, so it is on Amazon. Check out X Hydration. Go follow the pages. Go follow all of these guys' individual pages. Not only do they have a good business plan in mind, but they're just some cool guys. Like, this has been a great episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know how we do when we wrap it up. It costs nothing to be good to someone. Be good to someone today. I'm your host, Rob Fields. We have the X Hydration family on the episode with us. And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace. Thanks for
Thank you for having us, Rob.
Couch.
Couch or Rob.
The couch with Rob Fields. Rob, we love what you got going on, man. We love this shit.
All right. Yeah.